Happy Tuesday, everybody. Technically, it is Tuesday here because it's past midnight. And this Monday, so yesterday, today, whichever term is appropriate, technically yesterday, was a very magical day, it seems, because I got so many messages with so much movement and results that it was really a lot. So usually, during one day, I will never receive that many. So I even screenshotted like three of them because there was many, and I was like, okay, let's post something in the community. But the reason why I'm making this audio is because I want to comment on some of those messages, the screenshotted ones, because two clients have had major movement after months of no contact. And I want to talk a bit more about it, and I want to talk a bit more about what was done and what the clients have done, because I know some of you are still in no contact situations, and I think this will be helpful and could really teach you some things, I guess. So let's begin with the first client. So with this client, okay, so here is the situation. This client was in a situation, I guess, is in a situationship, and the target is very avoidant, doesn't want a relationship, and the client wants a relationship. When I met the client, she was extremely needy, of course. Her energy was very needy, very desperate. She really was in that low vibration, as we call it. And what we were working on was basically changing his mind so he will want to commit. So primarily, I was doing skull spells. I think we did 2 or 3 of them total. And that was like months ago. And then what happened was that suddenly the contact has disappeared. Again, her target is avoidance. Sometimes he will kind of disappear for a bit of time. And this time it was months, and he was going on some kind of a trip, and she texted him before the trip, and he has not replied. So I did a tarot reading for her. And in the reading, I could see that he will reach out, but not while he is on this trip, that he will reach out when he comes home, but it will take a little bit of time. He will not reach out right away after he comes back. So I didn't do any work because there was no need. Everything seemed like it will work out because already we have done several skull spells, and in this case I didn't think that at that moment any more work was needed. So the client was a bit anxious during this period because it was like a few months of no contact. I think several months. And basically she did message me a few times just to update me that still nothing is happening. And then I think 2 days before she contacted me, I have contacted her because I had a feeling that it's gonna happen, right? And guys, when I contact you, it's always for a reason. And she said, no, he has not contacted me. Nothing happened. So I was like, oh, that's strange. But then I just told her, hey, just work on your vibration, keep your vibration high. And yesterday, she messaged me to inform me, as you can see in the screenshot, that he called, he asked her for dinner, they spent the night together. And, that was, of course, great. And then she also said that he is a changed man. So I have asked, well, how, for her to explain to me what happened. And she explained that he's now a better man. And that when she said, I know that you said that we cannot be in a relationship because you're not ready, he said, never say never, and I will do better. Let us just take it slow and see. Take it slow, as this is new to me. So the skull spells we have been doing on changing his mind are working. So what is important here? Why am I sharing this with you? Why am I sharing all of this with you? I'm sharing all of this with you because, guys, she regulated her energy. She regulated her emotional state, number one. Number two, we did skull spells, which is specific to change his mind. They were very specific. We were going for these results. Of course, this is still a journey. This is just a beginning, I guess, of him actually, thinking about commitment and, accepting that idea. But this is, of course, wonderful. And then obviously, just because somebody is avoidant and goes no contact, I want to remind you that this doesn't necessarily mean that they will never reach out again. Okay. And then, she also said this, I did not screenshot, but I will read it to you guys. I didn't want to screenshot too many private things, but she said, and then he said that he is now more conscious and less stressed. No, this is not the part I wanted to read. Sorry, this is the part I wanted to read. Well, I told her about the energy, neediness, all of that, and she said, and that is exactly what he said also. He said that he was pressured before, and now it feels like he can offer more without so much pressure. So, guys, as I always tell you, that needy energy, even if she was not like saying anything to pressure him, but he was feeling that needy energy, and that needy energy feels like pressure, especially if you have an avoidant target. That's, to them, that is horrible. They will just run, run, run. So it's very important to listen to the instructions, guys. Work on the instructions and remember, if you have a difficult situation, for example, like this, when there is a situationship, the other person does not want to commit, they're avoidant. That is a hard situation, okay? That's a difficult situation. You need to be patient. You need to allow some time for the spells to work. You most likely will need more than just one spell. You will need to be patient. You will need to work on your vibration. And yes, everything can change. Impossible things can happen. But like I said, it's a journey. It's not a quick fix. And I'm just surprised how many people with difficult situations just expect a quick fix. It can't work like that. Magic works in a natural way. It doesn't force anybody to suddenly, want to marry you. It doesn't force anybody to do anything. Okay? Okay. Then let's get into the next screenshot. So basically, in the next screenshot, we have a client who was in a situationship, but then the situationship ended and the target blocked her. So there was no contact for months. And what I did was a communication spell for her this time. So we had ups and downs with this target. He's again very, very avoidant. And we did a few skull spells. This time I have done a communication spell because of her specific situation. I have decided that this is the best thing to do. I wasn't very optimistic because they kept, with these breakups and something would always happen between them. So the more we do, as you know, the harder we will get results. And it has been months since no contact, and I believe she was even blocked this time. So with this communication spell, how I did it was, okay, so before, when these things happened between this specific client and her target, the target would, for example, start texting or would like a post of hers or unblock her or something like that, but she wouldn't get much from it. So this time I did it in a way that there would be some kind of arranged running into each other, something different, right, than just like online. So as you can see from the screenshot, after months of no contact and not seeing each other, accidentally she ran into him in the gym twice. What are the chances? You go to a gym, you don't have a specific time, you don't know that your ex is going to be there. So twice, and the first time nothing happened, but then she got a second chance as well, and this time he texted. So something is starting to move after a long period of no contact. Again, this client has done a lot of vibrational work during this whole process, and she regulates her emotions way better than she did when we started. This is so important to mention because, as I always say, magic will depend on both of us, not just myself, but yourself as well. And you're magical as well. Everybody is. So, this is what I wanted to share with you. The reason why I wanted to share this is so you can see exactly what we did, why we did it, and exactly what the clients did, and basically what you can expect in situations where there has been no contact for a longer period of time, different ways that we can receive that contact again. So, having said all of that, I want to remind everybody who is in a no contact situation that being needy for that text, seeking that validation from that text or that like, or watching stories or whatever it is, will not bring you anything. Nothing. So, working on having that validation come from you, being patient, and absolutely focusing on yourself, being in a stable, secure, safe energy is very, very important. So I hope this was helpful. I absolutely hope that everybody who is no contact, who is in the contact, will message me with wonderful news very soon as well. I wish this for everyone who is blocked, who is in no contact. Let's get unblocked. Let's get contact, okay? And let's just have beautiful results from our beautiful magic. I love you guys.